Buckeye Nation and college football diehards from across the land. This is the Wild Man, Chris Wilds, and this is the OHIO Podcast Game Day Preview Show, the only place where the heart and soul of the Buckeyes collide with true Midwestern passion, where we live and it's electric every weekend in college football. Guys, no game bigger than the one right here in Columbus, Ohio, where undefeated, top-ranked Buckeyes, reigning, defending, undisputed national champions, meet a reeling but dangerous Penn State Nittany Lions squad that has absolutely zero to lose. Before we get started, let me just remind everyone that we are the official Ohio State podcast of The College Huddle. Going over to thecollegehuddle.com, where you will find us as well as about 85 of our closest friends just hanging out and talking college football all the time. Also, we are the official Ohio State podcast of Fanside and Scarlet Game. Go ahead over there and check out some great articles written about all items covering college football for the Buckeyes. Guys, let's set the table first. We are going to talk about the Big Ten and national games that are coming up today. Guys, let's start in the Big Ten, where, of course, we have Indiana looking to keep their dream season alive versus Maryland. They're the first team and first in the country in points per drive, while the Terps under Loxley have done what they do every single season. They collapse once you get past the month of September. We've also got Michigan hosting Purdue today. This is a must-win game for Michigan. Every game from here on out is a must-win game for Michigan if they want to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. Purdue, scrappy, seeking dignity, a team that you have to ask, are they capable of upsetting the Wolverines in Ann Arbor? Or is this just another tune-up game for the Wolverines? We have USC traveling to Nebraska. This game is going to be a blackout game. It is a game that USC needs. It's a game Nebraska needs. These are two teams that are looking to better their bowl position and kind of stake claim to a higher rank in the Big Ten Conference moving forward, as these two teams are pretty much eliminated from the playoff picture at this point. Of course, you've got the Paul Bunyan's axe this weekend. You got Minnesota and Wisconsin battling for that. One of the oldest and greatest rivalries in college football history. In a game that's really kind of a who cares matchup for most. But let me tell you, Minnesota is still battling and jockeying for bowl position as well. Of course, we got Ohio State here in Columbus. Penn State coming in. We said it before. They're a reeling team. They're a cornered animal. Are they going to come out swinging? We don't know. Georgia visits Florida today in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Florida, a team that not performing where a lot of people thought they would. Georgia, Kirby Smart still has playoff hopes alive. So that one's going to be an interesting one in the swamp today. We look down. You've got big games throughout the SEC as well. Texas and Vanderbilt leads off today's slate of college football matchups. We've got Ole Miss and Tennessee both in big games. Elsewhere, we got Miami playing SMU in the ACC, a game with ramifications there. And then, of course, Notre Dame and Boston College in the Catholic school battle this year. So let's dig in. Let's start with Ohio State, Penn State, because that's what most of us are here for. All eyes are on the shoe. You've got top-ranked Ohio State defending its home turf against a wounded Penn State team. This was supposed to be a top 5 collision. This was supposed to determine who was going to be the Big Ten champion. Buckeyes now huge favorites. But there is some one truism in Big Ten football, and that is desperate teams with nothing to lose can be dangerous. Penn State still has talent. Yes, they're without their starting quarterback. Yes, their coach has been fired. But guys, this is a team that's playing for pride. They're playing for their jobs. And they're playing for the right to say that they ruined Ohio State's perfect season. And let me tell you, there are two fan bases, two very arrogant and ignorant fan bases in the Big Ten right now that are the biggest Penn State fans in the world. And that is those in both Ann Arbor and Bloomington, Indiana. Okay. So the Buckeyes come in, they're 7-0. They're averaging 36.4 points per game. Elite defense allowing only 5.86 points per game. This is the best defense in the nation, folks. It's not even close. It's not even a question. This is the best defense in the country. Penn State, a preseason juggernaut by most accounts, now on a 4-game losing streak, suffering historic upsets, back-to-back losses as a 20-point favorite, something no team in the FBS has done in over 30 years. My question in the chat today, my first of many. Guys, do you believe Penn State's nothing to lose gamble pays off, or does Ohio State bury these guys and continue their undefeated season? Drop your thoughts, drop your score predictions in the chat. As we look at the X's and O's of this one, guys, and let's start with the Buckeye offense versus the Penn State defense. Julian Sain, a redshirt freshman superstar in the making, 156 out of 195 completed, 1,872 yards, 19 touchdowns, only 3 picks, completing 80% of his passes, which is absolutely absurd. No one else in the nation is completing 80% of their passes. We've got Bo Jackson leading this backfield, which at times has struggled. But he has over 430 yards on the season, averaging over 6.4 yards per carry. You got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. And a lot of people are down on Jeremiah Smith this year. Guys, the defenses that are being thrown at Jeremiah Smith is absurd. Absolutely absurd. And yet he's still managing to lead the team in receptions, yards, and touchdown receptions. And has the largest completion of the season at 87 yards. Carnell Tate having a great season in his own mind, or in his own right. Carnell Tate comes in 34 receptions, 585 yards, averaging 17.3 yards per catch. Second only to Jeremiah Smith in touchdowns with 6. And guys, the reason for all this is an offensive line that is playing, for the most part, at a pretty elite level. Now, guys, we've had some questions about Tegra, but I want you to let this soak in for a minute. This offensive line is only allowing a 1.4 pressure percentage allowed. That means they are only pressuring Julian Sain on 1.4% of his dropbacks. Sain is staying clean in the pocket. And that's giving him a lot of room to operate. Thank you, Mika. Yes, I almost forgot. Please, everyone, check out our Patreon channel. We've got a lot of great content on there that is only on our Patreon channel. We have 3 levels of subscription. We can do a free subscription, which gives you access to some content in one message board. We have a $5 subscription, which gets you some more content there in addition to the extra message boards. which Buck Vader is running at a, you want to talk about an elite level? Go over and check those message boards out because Vader is running those at an elite level. And then, of course, we have our $20 subscription. You get everything involved. You also get this wonderful members only ball cap. So thank you, Mika, for reminding me. And don't forget, guys, our Game Watch party is exclusive on Patreon and will begin at noon today. Brian, we will not be covering the games on YouTube any longer. We're doing it exclusively on Patreon because over on Patreon, we can do it with the video. So at this time, we won't be covering any of the Game Watches on YouTube any longer. All right, so let's get back to it. Before we do, I just want to throw up a few of these score predictions that we had. Tyler, thank you for chiming in with this. Yeah, we're going to talk about that spread a little bit later. It went down last night to an 18.5 from the 20.5 it was had been all week. Eric's chiming in with a 31-13 score. Eric, I think you're giving Penn State way too much credit. Brian says 44-10 Buckeyes. You know, I think this is a high 30s, low 40s type of game for the Buckeyes. You know, the Buckeyes are a team that is very methodical now. They're not as explosive as what we've seen in the past. Not that they don't have explosive capability. And maybe we see that unleashed today. But to this point, they just haven't had to. Tyler, 42-10. Yeah, my man, I'm feeling your vibe there. And also, thanks to everybody who's in the chat: Mika, Tyler, Brian, Eric, Sage, Ohio. We've got, I saw Roy in the chat earlier, Vader, of course, in the chat. Andre, great to see you in the chat as well today. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Now, let's dive back in. You know, we talked about the Ohio State offense. Let's talk the Penn State defense. Because these guys are going to be charged. Thank you, TG, for your score as well. These guys are going to be charged with trying to stop this very effective Ohio State offense. This is a team that's weak against the run, guys. We should have success running the football. If we don't, we may have to acknowledge there are concerns with our running game. As Penn State goes, they're allowing 159 yards per game on the ground overall. But since they started league play, since they started Big Ten play, they're allowing 202 rushing yards per game. That's not going to win it for you in the Big Ten, guys. It's just not. You add in key defensive losses like obviously Tony Rojas, who's out. You know, the defensive backs, they're okay. They're a hungry young group, but they're vulnerable. They can be beaten, especially if they have to play man-to-man. If they have to play man-to-man coverage at all on either Jeremiah or Carnell, then this game is going to get very, very ugly. However, if you do, you know, if you're bracketing these guys, if you're double covering these guys, then you're just going to open up the game for Brandon Ennis, Max Clare, Mylan Graham may get in there some. Who knows? But these tight ends and other receivers can definitely exploit you as well. Now let's switch over to the other side. The Penn State offense versus the Buckeye defense. Penn State's offense at this point is basically one-dimensional. For Penn State to have any chance, it's run or bust. Katron Allen is the key, obviously. If he gets going and Penn State can grind this out with ugly drives and hang around, they can make it competitive. The QB situation, the young man from down in Delaware, you know, this kid has a big chore on his plate right now. Grunkenmeyer is a talented young man. He's only completing about 59% of his passes right now, though, and he has a 5.1 average. He has 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. The young man has a lot on his plate facing the nation's best defense. And he's going to see a lot from Matt Patricia that a veteran quarterback in college could not handle. So the quarterback situation is shaky. Turnovers have doomed them all year. They've lost the turnover margin in every loss during this streak. Um, Defensively for Ohio State, I mean, you look at this, and I said it before, absolute dominance. Absolute dominance. They're only allowing 220 yards per game. The red zone defense, best in the country at 50%. Think about that for a second. Inside the red zone, teams typically will average 70, 80%. Your good teams are averaging over 80% into the 90s. Ohio State's allowing just a 50% conversion rate. If I'm not mistaken, it breaks down as 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, and 4 field goals is what they've allowed in the red zone this year. Astonishing. Best in the nation. You've got standouts on this offense or this defense that I just don't think Penn State has the answers for. Caleb Downs, a field general and tackling machine at safety. Caden Curry and Arvell Reese. Wow. I mean, the way they've stepped up and played this year, pressuring the quarterback, stopping the run. Jermaine Matthews and Iggy have been good on the outsides. Iggy, we've seen get a little more handsy lately. But, Iggy had arguably one of his better games last year versus Penn State. And then, of course, Sonny Styles, the hybrid playmaker. He can blitz. He can drop into coverage. He can tackle. We have Caden McDonald, who's just an absolute beast, stopping the run in the middle. Guys, I don't see a path here for a Penn State victory. I just don't. I think this is Ohio State. I think this is all Ohio State. So, guys, which Buckeye is going to make the game-changing play in this game? Is Matthews going to have a pick? Is Caleb going to have a pick? Is Smith or Tate going to just burst out with a performance like we saw Tate a few weeks ago where he had, nearly 200 yards receiving? Is it going to be another great goal line stand where the Cadens or Downs or Styles or Arvell make a huge play? Who is your pick this week for the standout player? And you can give me one on offense and one on defense. And last, as we look at this week's game, let's talk about the intangibles. You've got the home field advantage of the shoe. The shoe is going to be rocking. The Buckeyes have won 8 straight games there in this series. But half of the games have been 1-score games. Your odds makers don't think this is even going to be close, and I agree. There's major motivation this weekend. Not are we just in a run to become back-to-back champions for the first time in Ohio State history. A blowout turns heads. And guys, right now, with everything going on in coaching, and guys are going to enter the portal. Right now, with key recruits who are going to be watching, some visiting the game, I feel like, to me, this is a major motivation for Ohio State to go out and dominate. And then, of course, you've got the guy on the other sideline, Jim Knowles. How much does that matter to you guys? How much does it matter to Ryan Day? how much does it matter to those players that the jerk who stuck you, the guy who was on the phone 5 minutes after winning a national championship, how much does it bother you that he's on the other side? I'm just curious. What do you guys think? For me, it's not a major issue. For me, I don't think it's a major issue. But what do you think? And Eric, great point. Great point, absolutely. A lot of the commits who were previously Penn State commits or are Penn State commits are in the shoe today. This is a major opportunity for Ohio State to flip commits, to earn commits from those guys who decommitted. So I got to think that that's a major motivation for Ohio State. All right, let's see. Yeah, Andre, Mika has a great new show. If you haven't seen it over on our Patreon channel, The Illuminati, go over, check it out. It's awesome. So, give me some questions. Throw me some questions. Let me know your thoughts on today's game as it stands. And while you are coming up with some of those, I'm going to switch over and talk about some big games on the national stage, some big games in the Big Ten that are going to matter. So this weekend, of course, we've got Notre Dame, Boston College. We all know my great hate for Notre Dame. Notre Dame comes in as a 28.5-point favorite going to Boston College. The Irish are coming off a bye. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but historically, coming off a bye week, Notre Dame is 10-2 versus the spread. To me, this is an Irish team that, at this point of their schedule, I don't see anybody except for maybe Navy who can put a chink in their armor. I'm going to honestly say I'm going to take Notre Dame in this one versus Boston College. I think the Irish roll and you lay the points. Tyler, this is a great question, and we're going to come back to this. So we will save this one here. Tennessee, Oklahoma. Tennessee, Oklahoma. Now, see, the spread on this one is only 2.5. And a lot of people are liking Tennessee with the spread. Here's my take on this. I think Oklahoma's defense is for real. Tennessee is a team that flashes at times. But I will say this. The defense for Tennessee isn't going to have to flash real hard because Oklahoma's only averaging a little over 21 points a game. Guys, to me, this is a no-brainer. I think you take the under on this one. It's 55.5. I don't see Tennessee putting up, a huge number of points. I don't see them up more than 35 versus this Oklahoma defense. I don't see Oklahoma putting up 20 on this Tennessee team. But my thing is, Oklahoma may keep it even closer, and that's why I'm a little afraid of going on the taking the points and playing the spread. So for me, I wouldn't play the spread. I take the under, and I take the 55.5 under. Kicking off the day, Vanderbilt at Texas, guys. Arch Manning is back out of the concussion protocol. Doesn't matter. I don't know. You look at this. There's two very, very good defenses. Two offenses that at times have flashed, but typically against teams that aren't the greatest defensively. I don't think points are going to be an easy commodity to come by in this game either. This is another game where 46.5, I'm taking the under. I just don't. I don't see it. That's just me. I don't see it. So stay away from the spread on that one. Take the under. Of course, Indiana, Maryland. The Terps collapse in November. They do it every year. Indiana, whether we like them or not, they are a buzzsaw right now. Guys, I would take Indiana and lay 21.5 at Maryland all day long. Florida, Georgia, world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We talked about it earlier. This is a Georgia team that's got a lot to play for. They're only getting 7.5 in the Swamp. And of course, I'm sorry. It said this is actually, I forgot. This is a neutral site game. The cocktail party is. So yeah, for me, I'm taking Georgia. I don't like Georgia. I don't think Georgia is one of the top 5 teams in the country. I don't know that they're one of the top 8 teams in the country. But I do think they're good enough to put up 7.5 or more than a touchdown win versus Florida. Yeah, Eric, I wasn't too sure about that one either. But again, just like the Tennessee game, I believe it's only 2.5 when I looked last. In fact, I'll double check that right now. But I believe it was only 2.5 points for Texas. It's up to 3.5. Texas is getting 3.5 now. You know, that's one that now that you're over a field goal, does that change the way you think? I still like the under. I think the under is a more guaranteed bet on this one. And then of course Ohio State, Penn State, guys. The line opened up at 20.5. I think it was Tyler mentioned it earlier. Maybe it slipped to 18.5. For me, this is a no-brainer. I don't think that this is a team that has any opportunity to beat Ohio State. I want you guys to keep this in mind. Ohio State or Penn State has not covered the spread once this year. Not in a single game. Even when they were playing well at the beginning of the season, not in a single game has Penn State covered the spread this year. This year, Ohio State is 6-1 versus the spread. The only time we didn't cover was the September 13th game to Ohio University. So for me, I just feel like this is, a game that Ohio State's not just going to win; they're going to dominate. They're going to own, and I don't see any possibility at all of this Penn State team even giving us a challenge. I think right now the only team that Ohio State can beat Ohio State is Ohio State. I don't see a team out there that is anywhere near as good. And people and the Indiana fans are pushing back on my little video from the other day. If you haven't seen it, hop on over to watch the full thing on our Patreon channel. Guys, it's Indiana is not as good as they think they are. Are they a good football team? Absolutely. They are a good football team. Are they a great football team? Borderline. Are they elite? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. One great game in the last 100 years, that being the game they played versus Oregon this year, does not make you a super team. We don't even know how good this Oregon team is. I can tell you what, it's not as good as the Oregon team that Ohio State thumped in the Rose Bowl last year. Eric, yeah, they look good against Oregon, but how good is Oregon? How good is Oregon really? Because Oregon's best claim to fame right now was a win against Penn State. and I just I don't know. So as we go into this one, I don't think there's any question Ohio State is the team to beat. Eric, buddy, I don't know that they are. Just like I don't know that Georgia is number 5 good in the country. I don't know that Georgia is a top 8 team. I don't know that Oregon is a top 8 team. Bart, I agree 100% with you. Um, Oregon hasn't looked great all season. I think they're overrated. And I hate to feed into the narrative and give the SEC fans more hope that the SEC is truly the better conference. But to me, right now, Oregon's overrated. I'll actually break that down for you here before we close out the day, Eric. The injury report for today was just put out. Looks like the following Buckeyes are not going to be available today, guys. Logan George, Malik Hartford, which no big surprise there. Mason Maggs, Quincy Porter, Anthony Rogers, Max Roy, and Ahmed Tunkara are all out for today's game. Guys, not really a massive concern with the injuries, although I am curious about Quincy Porter. Caden comes in with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my man. Buckeyes 49-3. Penn State loses big time. I've got them losing big. Caden, okay, let me address this too. Caden says he tried calling in. Guys, we are no longer doing a call-in show on Saturday mornings. We're going to change to this format, and this has been a little bit rough as I'm rolling through this morning. But we're going to have a more cohesive show like this moving forward. A game day preview. We're going to cover the big games in the Big Ten. We're going to cover the big games nationally. We're going to cover my locks, my Wild Man Weekend locks, which I covered earlier, and I will repeat before the end of the show. And guys, just moving forward, we think this is the best way to treat the Saturday morning show. Now, what I would like to do is perhaps over the next few weeks, because I really want to kind of get a dialogue going on this, we may bring on either a or a variety of co-hosts to help me out with the Saturday morning show. Caden, I don't think you and I could do a show, but you know what? I'm rooting for you, buddy. I do think that you and Eric could be doing a show on Monday night, which would just excite the hell out of me. I would love that for you. More than anything, I'd love that for Eric. All Penn State has to do is be beaten by Ohio State by 50 or more points. And you, my man, get your moment on stage with Eric, which I am hoping for. Mangoes, yeah, their call-in shows are fun. Here's the thing. With the direction we're headed with the channel, it just wasn't financially pertinent or prudent to continue doing the call-in shows at a clip of $30 plus per show. We are still going to keep the Monday night call-in show. Tuesday night will be just like normal with the Buckeye Lounge. Wednesday night we'll drop our previews on YouTube. Thursday night you get the Buckeye Ladies. Fridays, we've been doing some Patreon game watches. We didn't do one last night because, as many of you have mentioned in the chat, Sarah, Eric's lovely wife, was not feeling well. So they were not active last night. But we are still going to do our Game Watch Saturdays on Patreon. Sunday night, you'll still get our roundtable shows. So if you haven't yet, those shows, with the exception of the Game Watches, are all still on YouTube. If you want anything of our other exclusive content, hit our Patreon channel. We've got TG. Yeah, this was a big thing too. I'm sorry, before I get into the Patreon channel, the super chats just weren't coming in to cover the cost of the call-in show anymore, guys. That was a big reason why we stopped doing the call-in show on Saturdays. But on Patreon, we got TG has a show where she follows former Ohio State guys in the NFL. We've got my show, What Drives Me Wilds. We got Eric on there with several shows. We've got Mika on there with her new Illuminati show. We got Buck Vader dropping tidbits in the blogs and running those running the message boards for us. He also does his Vader reports. There's a lot going on Patreon for us. A lot of exclusive content you're not going to see on YouTube. Mango, I don't think that's in the cards right now. We really want to go to the I think the pregame format, something that for us we think makes more logical sense. However, I'm confused. Brian, I'll get to your question in just a second, buddy. So Mangoes, yes, it does cost money because we have to buy software that we have to run through. We have to have a call-in studio where we can stage the calls. Everything runs through that. That is why we have to do that. And because we weren't getting enough of the super chats to keep the calling going, that's why right now we've done away with the Saturday show. However, I will say this, as Eric says, it costs us about $240 a month to do both call-in shows. So if anyone wants to pledge a $300 super chat, maybe Eric can be persuaded and I can be persuaded to reconsider. No, this is not going to be our only live show on YouTube. We will still have our Sunday night shows live on YouTube. We will still have the call-in show on YouTube on Monday nights. We will still have the Tuesday Night Buckeye Lounge show live on YouTube, usually. At times, I think it gets pre-recorded only because of the availability of certain guests. But primarily, I think they are almost always live on the Buckeye Lounge. Wednesdays will be a pre-record drop-in of our preview. Thursdays, the Buckeye Ladies are live. And of course, I don't remember if I started with this or not, but Sunday night roundtable shows will still be live. Those are all still live on YouTube. We may still do occasional game watches on YouTube as well. Where we just kind of go back to the old school game watch but these will not be the Ohio State games. These will be like we've done with Michigan in the past, like we've done with, I think we did a USC game not that long ago. I think it was USC Notre Dame we did, where it's more about watching the game, hanging out, hearing our reactions, and honestly, a lot of us cutting up. Oh my goodness. I still don't know what's going on. I do know this. If we ever do a game watch on there again, we got to make sure that Eric, Corey, and Bart are not allowed to play together because those three together are absolutely nuts. Yes, Eric, we also have 5 pre-recorded shows that we're going to do as well. So, guys, it looks like this one's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and run through my Wildman's locks one more time. We're going to wrap up. If you guys don't have any questions, probably we're only going to make it about an hour today, guys. In the past, we've done about an hour and a half. But, this gives me time to get a little bit of lunch if we go an hour. Oh, very good question, Brian. I'm going to address this before I even touch up my. Bart resents that comment. Bart, you and I, I understand you're a bit of a gambler as well. We might have to get you on here to maybe do this show with me occasionally on Saturday mornings as well, because I truly think you are pretty awesome at this. Brian wants to know, do I think Hartline leaves Ohio State in the next year or in the future? This one's tough. There's a lot of premium coaching jobs open right now. And as the coaches leave to take those jobs, more coaching jobs are going to come open. I don't believe it for a second, but there's been rumor of Marcus Freeman actually talking to LSU. So do I think that Hartline leaves OSU next year or in the future? This is what I would say. If Ohio State has gone over to Brian Hartline and said, listen, you are our choice. You are our choice to follow Ryan Day as head coach. And they say to him, 5 years. Give us 5 years. We're going to elevate your salary. You're a young man. We're going to elevate your salary. We are going to say that you are the heir apparent. And if within 5 years Ryan Day does not leave, we will shake your hand and wish you well. Then I think Brian Hartline stays right where he's at. If Ohio State has not taken the initiative to go and talk to Brian Hartline and make an arrangement to say you will be the next head coach at Ohio State, then guys, I gotta say, Brian Hartline's a competitor. He's a guy who wants to, he wants the pressure. He wants to grow. He's going to have opportunity. But then I also think, to counter that you've got him looking at the Luke Fickell situation, where Fick did a great job at a smaller school like Cincinnati, and then struggled once he hit Wisconsin. To me, I think Brian Hartline is a competitor, but he's also a smart man. And you're right, man, because he is hungry. He wants to be the head guy. However, he's smart enough to know that he's not ready just yet. So will he leave this next year? I don't think so. Will he leave in the next few years? If Ohio State has not had this talk with him, then yes, he will go somewhere in the next few years. That's where I'm at on it. Any other questions from the chat? And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and put up our Patreon link here. Guys, if you want to see the live game watch party, you got to go over here. You got to go over here. It's the only place you're actually going to see the Ohio State game broadcast as we call the game. It's awesome. $5 membership gets you that. $5 membership to our Patreon channel. You will be able to view that as well as all of our other video content and our message boards. $20, you go to the highest level of membership, you get the hat as well. Yeah, Bart, I was coming to that because we are in November now. We are just 4 weeks away from the game with the Scum. And we will be at Baker's Pizza in Bucyrus for our game watch party that day. If you are in the area, we highly encourage you to come on out. It's going to be great. We're going to have prizes. I noticed that Eric's got some other things in the works that I don't want to talk about because I'm not sure where we're at with it. But guys, it's going to be a good time. Hoping to see as many people there as possible. Okay, guys, before we wrap this thing up today, I do want to go through my picks today one more time. We are going to... where did they go? There they are. We're going to start with Vanderbilt and Texas. Guys, I don't think either of these defenses is going to give up a lot of points. You're looking at a game that right now is 3.5 favored to Texas. I'm still afraid to take the line. I'm still afraid to take that line. Uh, that half point scares me just a little bit. Uh, you know what? The over under is 46.5. I'm pounding the under. Next game we've got is the what? Uh, you know what? I'm going to see if Eric's still going to address this. I have been out of touch for about the last 3 days. I've had a lot going on with things at school and some personal things I've had going on as well. So I have not reached out to Eric to personally find out exactly what happened or to share that with you guys. So for me, I'm going to say if Eric's still in the chat, we'll let him handle this question because I don't feel comfortable sharing that information without his okay. Next game we have SEC slate is Tennessee, Oklahoma. Again, I stay away from the spread of 2.5 on this one. Both defenses are very, very good. The offense for Tennessee, I think, is a little bit better. However, the game is at Oklahoma, so I'm staying away from that 2.5. I'm going to go with the under on this one as well. It's a 55.5 point over under, so give me the under on this as well. Notre Dame, Boston College, the battle of the Catholic schools. Strong consensus. Irish off a bye, like I said, 10-2 against the spread, coming off a bye week. Boston College's defense couldn't stop the Little Sisters of the Poor's football team. So let me tell you, the Irish are going to roll on this one, lay the points. I'm no Irish fan. I'm no Notre Dame fan. I am no Marcus Freeman fan by any means. But I'm going to tell you right now, even Brian Kelly's Notre Dame team could probably put up 40 on these guys. Indiana, Maryland, guys. Indiana is going to just absolutely destroy these guys. They're a buzzsaw right now, whereas Maryland's in their annual late season collapse. 21.5. This game should probably have a spread of 31.5. And I would still take Indiana at that. Ohio State, Penn State. Line opened up at 20.5. It's down to 18.5. Last I saw, in fact, I'm going to check the actual live line right now. It's down to 17.5 as of about 20 minutes ago. It's down to 17.5. Guys, you could take this one. I honestly could parlay multiple bets on this one. Because you've got Ohio State 17.5 points. I'm going to lay those points. But you've got an over-under of 44.5. And given the fact that Ohio State is running the slowest offense in the country right now, meaning they're not putting up a ton of points like they could, and the fact that Penn State is playing the best defense in the country, I might double hammer this one and take the 17, lay the 17.5 and take the under. Are there any other games you guys would like to have any thoughts on today before we close this thing out? Florida's Miami is a 10.5 point favorite at SMU. For me, guys, I think that's a no-brainer. That's a Miami win. Other than that, I mean, you got another new game in the Big Ten. You got Illinois laying 13.5 at home against Rutgers. Rutgers does not have the pass defense to stop Illinois, I don't believe. I think that this is also one where Illinois can cover this. As I'm looking through, I'm just looking to see if there's any other big games I might be able to lay down for you guys. Oh, here we go. Notre Dame has jumped to a 30.5 point favorite. Does that change your mind? No. No. I still think Notre Dame blows the doors off of Boston College. USC and Nebraska. USC is laying 4.5 at Nebraska. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Nebraska's passing offense is okay. They've got a decent offensive line. USC is starting to USC it again and not play defense really well. Maybe the safest bet in this game is the over at 58.5. Andre says he's so glad today's game is in the shoe and not on the road. Oops, sorry, that was Mika's. So, Andre, I don't know if anything changes if it's on the road. I love the fact that it's in the shoe. I love that for Ohio State fans. I love the fact that we get to see this game in the shoe. Those of us who are fortunate enough to be going to the game. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful autumn day today, but I don't think it matters. RK Mangoes, Matt Rule and Lincoln Riley do not like each other. It's a hidden game, rivalry game because of this. I can see that. I could see that. But does anybody like Lincoln Riley? I mean, the guy is let's call it what it is. He's an arrogant prick. Uh, he's a guy who is living off of what he did as a coordinator and a quarterback coach. As a head coach, he has just not hit it out of the ballpark a single time. He's just not that good. It's just me. Tim says his prediction for the game is 27-13. Tim, I think you're giving Penn State too much credit, specifically offensively. Defensively, I feel like this is probably a 35-38 point game for Ohio State. But, to each their own. Yeah, it's been a long time away from home, guys. With bye weeks and all the road games we endured, it has been a long time away from home. Here we go. Here's one of interest to some folks in Ohio. Uh, Utah, number 24 Utah is hosting number 17 Cincinnati tonight. Utah is laying 10.5 points. I don't like it. I think that's too many points. I think that Cincinnati covers that game. Will they win or lose? I don't know. But I think it's going to be a much better game than what the experts are predicting. So give me Cincinnati to cover in that one. I think he's trying to say that Lincoln Riley is a good coach. He's a good coach. He's not a great coach. He's just not. Another big one tonight. Number third. Is that tonight? That might be next. That's Thursday night. We aren't going to get to that one because that's next week. Woohoo! All right, guys. Listen, it's been a great first show. Uh, Hopefully next week I can have a co-host on. Keep a little more banner going because I would love to really, uh, boost this up as the premier pregame show on YouTube right now. I think we have that ability. We have the greatest football team in the country to talk about on a day in, day out basis. Um, we have the best conference in college football to talk about. That's right. I said it, SEC Squirrels. The fact is, you haven't even contended for a national title the last 2 years. Step to the back of the line. Oh, correct, Tyler. You are absolutely right. You had a question I was going to go back to, and I almost forgot you. 3 Heisman winners and the only active head coach to claim that. How many national titles does he claim? I'm just going to leave it at that. How many national titles does he claim? Oh, Tyler, I'm struggling to find your question now. Tyler, if you can think about it, can you throw that question back up while I look for it, just in case I don't find it? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to find this, and then we're going to address his question before we close out the day. Wow. Where did we go, Tyler? Where did we go? I have to scroll all the way back up the top and start this thing over. But while we're doing that, guys, let me just ask you. Do we like the new format of By the way, this is another one of Tyler's. Penn State Sports Talk has disappeared. What a surprise. Let me tell you guys. As we go through the chat here, Mika would like you to please stop over and check out her new first video on the Patreon channel, guys. It was great, by the way, Mika. You did wonderful. All right. Yeah, he did. Here was a question from Alex Miller. No, Sand did not play at Bama for a year on the scout team. He was at Bama for all of about a month. Okay, Tyler, we're going to hope you got that back in here because I just don't see it anywhere. Okay, so are we doing the LeBron James argument? What? Why? Why? Uh, no, we're not talking about we're not talking about the LeBron James argument because it's two different things, two different sports. But if you don't have a chip, you're not an elite coach right now. What you're talking about is what a quarterback coach does, what an offensive coordinator does. He is great at those. I give him that. He is not a great head coach. He is not a great head coach. How many playoff appearances does he have? How many chips does he have? That's how you rank a great head coach. Tyler was talking about the best passing offense Penn State actually played so far this year. Well, let's take a look here. Let's see. Let's see exactly. I'm going to bring up Penn State's schedule. We're going to talk about that. It's probably going to be Oregon, I imagine. Let's see here. So they had Nevada to open the season, Florida International, Villanova. By the way, if I recall, those 3 games that they started out by winning, the combined rank of those 3 teams was like 131st defensively. Uh, Oregon, UCLA, Northwestern, Iowa. It's got to be Oregon. Oregon's got to be the best passing offense that they've played. And this I will say, their quarterback Moore is a pretty good quarterback. He is a good dual threat. Um, he's fairly accurate, but he's not seen anybody with the accuracy of a Ohio State and Julian Sand. He's also not seen a team that has as many weapons in the passing game as Ohio State. This is a Penn State team that is really, like I said, they're hanging their hat on a win over, or I'm sorry, a Oregon rather is hanging their hat on a win over Penn State as their best win, and we don't know how good this Penn State team is or was at the time, because yes, they were 3-0 when they came in there, but guys, they were against terrible defenses. If you look at Oregon this year, I mean, really take a look at Oregon. They're not a whole lot better than what we saw out of Penn State's schedule. Yeah, Penn State has a fraudulent pass defense. They make no mistake. Uh, but let's talk about Oregon's schedule for next. We had this great debate start up earlier with Eric, where he said Oregon deserves to be number 6, and I need you to tell me why. Their season has been August 30th, Montana State. Then they absolutely slapped around what is a bad Oklahoma State team. They beat up on Northwestern. They beat up on Oregon State. They eked by a bad Penn State team. They got beat by 10 at home by Indiana. They smacked Rutgers. And they struggled a bit with Wisconsin at home. I am not an SEC sympathizer by any means. But once you get past Ohio State, Indiana, and you get to that next tier of the Big Ten, I don't know that we can honestly say that we are. I think we're the better conference at the top. I can't say that we are the better conference overall. I believe we're better at the top. I think that our top 5 teams are just as good, if not better, than the SEC's top 5 teams. Because you've got Indiana, you've got Ohio State. Yes, you've got an Oregon team that is, I don't know, worthy of number 6, but I think that they are pretty good. An Iowa team that is okay. They're pretty good. A scum team that is, but they have some talent defensively. But if you look at the way the Big Ten stacks up against the SEC, I just feel like, you know, these are supposed to be the power conferences, and I think that we're leaving out some of these Big 12 and ACC teams, which maybe belong in the mix in the conversation. Because if you look at the top 5 for the SEC, Texas A&M, I believe they're legit. They are top 3. Alabama, legit. They are top 5. Georgia, I think, is a poser. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, I think, is a poser. Vanderbilt, I think, is a poser. I think that Texas has had some struggles, but I think that their defense is legit. Missouri, poser. Oklahoma, I think, is a poser. And then once you get past Oklahoma, You're talking about a lot of losing records, guys. 3-4. There's a 500 at 4-4. There's 3-5. There's a 4-4, 2-6, 2-5. You know, and if you go back to the Big Ten, I think that's exactly what you see out of the Big Ten. You see good teams at the top: Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, maybe. But I think they're a poser. I think Iowa's a poser. I think USC is poser. Minnesota is okay. But you get down to USC or UCLA, they're not good. Illinois was a poser this year. They had me fooled. I'm not going to lie. So to me, I just think let's stop the the super conference talk, because there are legit teams in BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, Texas Tech, Utah, who I think have an argument to displace some of the SEC and even some of the Big Ten teams that are ranked. ACC, you've got a Georgia Tech team that should be top 5. Virginia has an argument. Pitt, poser. Louisville, I really like what we're seeing out of Louisville. SMU, no, they're nothing. Duke, not much. Miami, a lot of talent. A lot of talent. You you look at where's Navy in the rankings? Why is Navy not ranked? They are 7-0 and they are playing good ball. You know, the MAC and the Mountain West, the Kennesaw States, those guys in the Conference USA. I don't see a legitimate argument for those guys, honestly. Of course, Notre Dame rules the independents because there's only 2, and I hate them both equally. But Mangos, here's the thing. You're saying Navy had a very weak schedule. I can make an argument that 90% of the teams in the top 25 had a weak schedule. And the only reason, going back to what you asked earlier, the only reason that the strength of schedule for SEC teams is so high is because at the beginning of the season, the media, specifically ESECPN, pre-ranks these guys so high that even when they get beat and fall, they still have a high enough ranking to keep the strength of schedule strong. The SEC is a myth made up by the media. That's why they haven't competed for a national title in the last 2 years. They are a myth created by the media that no longer exists now that the greatest coach in college football history has retired. Now that Saban is retired, and now that everybody can legitimately pay all the players with NIL, the playing field is even, and the SEC has fallen by the wayside. They've fallen back to the pack. It's that simple. The SEC is a myth. All right, guys. You know what? I love the chat today. A lot of great questions. This is why we love college football. We love the arguments. We love the debates. We love the passion. The shoe's about to explode. Perfect season. Playoff dreams. Big Ten dominance hanging in the balance. So, guys, Penn State, to me, this is just another warm-up game for that last game of the season. For that last game of the regular season. This is just a warm-up. Guys, this is the Wild Man, Chris Wilds. I'm signing off from the OHIO Podcast pre-game, our game day preview show. Be sure to join us 12 p.m. Eastern on our Patreon channel for our live game watch party, guys. I'm out of here. I'm going to go get some lunch before we start. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Remember to join us over on our Patreon channel. Only $5 is for the base member, or for the base paid membership. $20 is the exclusive membership, also gets you the hat. And entered into the monthly drawings, which I'm going to bet probably happened today over on Patreon. So until next time, good day, God bless, go Bucks.